is I hear what you're saying. It is, it's an issue. It's definitely an issue.
Yeah, yeah. We need to go back to our value system to go and recuperate, because somebody was asking, do Africa have? Of course, we have value. We have a lot of great
where
value.
is it? Over here,
Okay.
where is it, and what is it? This is what I'm going to take away from here today, right? We need to define the African way. And I'm glad that Leslie asked, is there one? Is there really one? Is there?
Of course there is. Okay, now
What is
you
it?
don't need,
What
you don't
is
need
it?
to. Okay, now Eddie, what I'm very careful of, we don't need to base Africa based on the circumstantial situation that we have today. This is not what we are talking about.
I agree. Now, we need to create our way of doing things, right?
If we even go back, to the basic, we can see that there are value. In fact, the reason we are still surviving today is because there is those value. Although Nigeria have got into a stage that everything is almost broken. The value system, there is a continuous war to break that value system so that anything go. A society where anything go is dangerous. Anything should not go in life. There are certain, what is the name? Shazum, the writer of The Art of War, said there are some territory you cannot evade. There are some order coming from the sovereign that you don't need to obey. With me, there are certain things that you just cannot do. One of those things is putting those horrific images in the open. If it were your sister, if it were your mother, your father, would you do that? That thing hurts. It means you are worthless. You don't have any value. You don't have any respect for yourself. How do we get to that level?
They're chasing the money over here. That's what it is. They're chasing the money, right?
Okay.
Facebook pays them for the clicks.
Benny, can I just say something?
Please, feel free.
Please.
You are so right, but you know that everything starts from the top. Do you know that? If our government, they do not care that they don't care that people are dying on the streets, do you notice that people are just killed for nothing, and there is no investigation and nobody asks about them? So it's like human beings die every day without. I just want to say that is how everything is. It's just like we don't care about our values. We don't care about human values. We don't care about industries. The youths are not employed. The government they don't show a lot of interest. No. Imagine that there are some people, about 5 or 6 people are slaughtered somewhere, and you never hear anything about that anymore. Just that they died. That's it. Yeah, okay. So just that is how it is. People, we just laissez-faire attitude. I don't know who to blame. I can just tell you that. But one thing I do know is that if anybody is ready to help, you don't have to help the whole nation. By the way, before you can help anybody, you have to be standing. You cannot give what you don't have. But if you are standing, please, and you want to help somebody, start from one person. Just helping one person. You never know who that person is going to be tomorrow. Helping just one person is enough, because there is no way you can help everybody. But one thing I want to say is that it's like we don't care about ourselves. Okay, it's somebody that posted whatever you saw, the ugly video you saw on Facebook, just to make money, right? The same thing happens when an African is elected as a president or a governor, and they don't really care about what is happening to the community, the nation. They just care about their pocket, their bank account, their family, their children, and that's all what they care. So just like someone posted an ugly video of Africa on Facebook, that's the same behavior like the president is just there as a figure, just the president. That is how a senator. I just don't know. Things that's falling apart, just like Chinua Achebe. That's all I can say. Because if we care, if we care about ourselves, we can care about the video on Facebook. We can care about what about people dying everywhere in Africa, in Nigeria especially, and they just died today, and that's tomorrow. You ask about what about the investigation? What happened about people that were shut down? Are they a section
There
of
isn't one. There isn't. There's no investigation.
investigation? Nothing. You
There's
see,
no
so
investigation.
that's generally the attitude. Nobody cares. That's the attitude. So it's just compared with somebody posting a video, an ugly video, just to make money on Facebook. That's just what that person cares about, to make money, to put in his pocket. That is the value, the kind of value. What do we have? Classless society. I'm sorry to say that though. Classless society. That's where nobody cares. It's just unfortunate, but that's what it is. So when do we start helping ourselves? When do we start valuing
That's
what
the
we
question.
have?
That's the question.
That's why we have a brain drain in Nigeria. When you see a doctor, before you know it, they are already taken to London. Before you see an accountant, you see a PhD holder is a mathematician. Before you know it, they are all taken to. So that's why there's brain drain. People are ready to run anytime they can get the visa. They're out. They just pick their family and they're out right there. Why are they running away?
What if the system was?
Nobody cares.
What if the system was designed like this? So for also, Nigeria have certain characteristics. So Nigeria have certain characteristics that is important for us to consider. That we have the highest fertility in the world. Okay, the consequence of that, we have one of the most populated countries in the world. Very soon will be the third or the fourth most populated country in the world. Okay, so what if there is somebody that is benefiting from this chaos, this confusion?
Exactly.
So that doesn't really concern any other
society. That's what I just saying. What's that value? What is the value you have?
Who's benefiting? I'd love to know who's benefiting.
Of course, if we were to look at that, okay. Now let's look at some other area. Okay, maybe I might be diverted a little bit. Let's look at what is happening currently with this administration, where there is a war against farmers in Nigeria. There is war against those that are farming in Nigeria. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Of course, it's going to happen that this administration is going to import more food in the country because you have a population of more than 235 million people. They are going to eat. How are you going to feed them if the farmers are afraid to go to the farm? Somebody must make the calculation. Somebody must have understood that it's going to be like this, that the food is going to come, but from where? Who is going to sell this food to the country? Who is supplying this weapon? How come this miscreant are able to go with AK-47? Which border are they entering? So they must have made the calculation. They understand. They are not stupid. One professor in an interview said that the Nigerian politicians are smart, but they are rogue and they are smart rogue.
Somebody invites them, takes the money from them, puts in his own bank account, and Aaron closes his eyes and forgets that they are killing human beings. And so that's the value we have.
There's no love in our heart. I say again, we need to have love for each other. We need to have care.
You know what we need to do? We need to just go back, unlearn whatever we have. Is there anybody who can just go and clean ourselves up? We need to clean up, unlearn, relearn, and
exactly what Michael said, right?
We save ourselves.
So let's just say as well. Let's just say we have to relearn
how to. We don't have a common value. People just mind in their pocket. That's all. From the top to the bottom, So I was just surprised that you're talking about somebody posting a video. That's just a video. But the president, I mean, the people on the top are there, swinging the money into the account and forgetting that
They
people are
are.
dying
They
on the
are.
streets.
They
And they
really are.
all,
Coach, let's hear from Coach David. So what's the solution you say, Coach David? Help us. What's the
yeah,
missing link, David? What's the missing link? There's missing link somewhere, right?
And I must really acknowledge Prof and uh, Mr. Wonderful, awesome conversations, Obehi and Prof there. Thank you so much.
thank you,
Thanks,
David.
any.
Thank you, Coach David.
Yes, great to see everyone on the call. I mean, I'm totally at a loss of what to say because this is a conversation that 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, it's not today. These problems have been there and they are systemic and they will not be solved easily. A couple of solutions come to mind. We need to begin to organize another type of societal pressure groups. It's not as if there are no pressure groups before and the model is not foolproof. But what you mentioned, Obehi, can we have there are today technology very simple to implement technology solutions that like what you have in budget IT that brings physical responsibility to the fore by covering projects. That's the power of the internet. And when people are really ready and tired of the in quotes the behavior of politicians, we will make enough noise. So for example, you can have a listenership tool that listens to sentiments online across different platforms. You can plug different platforms to them. You can do Facebook, you can do all the social media platforms, LinkedIn, whatever platform you're on. And it's going to do a sentiment analysis around the name Nigeria or the brand Nigeria. And it's going to flag easily any negative or neutral sentiments. Negative sentiments are the ones that are this kind of somebody taking the knife and entering someone's stomach. And because it concerns brand Nigeria, it can be regulated and is owned by the Federal Ministry of Information, and it can be highlighted to regulators or at least flagged openly, or you start societal debate. To have that kind of website, you need some money to invest, and the money may not come back to you. You may not earn the money back. And this is how nations rise. We must hate the nonsense in town to act and be willing to put our skin where our mouth is. It was Nassim Talib in the book, one of his books, who spoke about skin in the game. That the difference between those who fail and succeed from his research is skin in the game. We can keep talking until we cast our skin into the game. For example, what you're describing is around the brand Nigeria, which I don't think anybody knows how to solve. But one neat way, for example, because the regulator is confused. What systems or machines do they have now to regulate what is being said? Gone are the days of old media when you could actually slam Channels TV or AIT or any of those names. Apologies, I mentioned their names because they went to broadcast a plane crash that the NBC had not allowed to broadcast. Now the NBC, what tools do they have there? As it stands today, I know media houses that are stronger than the NBC with coverage intelligence, with global media coverage intelligence. I can mention one of them that I know that their coverage in terms of monitoring news around Nigeria and brand Nigeria globally, the NBC cannot match them. Flash News, it belongs to a political group, the same political oligarch in power. Think about Ghana. Think about Botswana. Think about all the countries in Africa. That is a shadow mirror. It's a very unfair society, polarized around the Pareto optimality, where 1 to 2% of society holds 80% of the power and psyche power. When I mention psyche power, meaning that they even drive the news and shape public opinion. The only hope you have is to organize in kibovs, which is individuals who have like mind, if we can have crime as a service in our day, which means people gather together and they contribute $1,000 over a period of 10 months, and then they have $10,000 in 10 places. That's $100,000 in 10 places, and they dedicate it to a social cause. Today, the cyber criminals are using that model. So let's start. Let's do something about highlighting, for example, around the brand Nigeria. There are solutions that can help us. The problem is that make sure that you are not willing to earn money from it. If you're thinking as a businessman, you probably won't earn anything. The guys who did budget IT, I find it difficult to float. Sarah reporters today, we know the story. The guy is probably barely able to pay his bills. Those are social crusaders of the past. So be ready to go that route. But let it be written that you did something. And you never may know. The law of random success has shown us that if we keep hitting the target, if you don't give up, if we keep hitting at it, maybe this episode will work. But as an example, Obehi, is a big problem you've highlighted. You just mentioned one sector. I've not gone to health. I've not gone to transportation. I've not gone to, the opportunity to grow our continent is large. And we can keep complaining, but what solutions? We're in the age where technology can help you to beam solutions. And the other last part is that I used to know in my last part, I used to know a critique. I used to know a critique of the current administration. Before the man became president, he used to criticize him a lot. All of a sudden, I see him online. The guy is actually shouting the praise of the presidency now. My point is, a lot of the critiques and a lot of the intelligence we have just seems to fly out of the window. Once they give you special advisor to the government and they give you just 200 million naira, you begin to be neutral. Where the presidency is trying, insurgency is just beyond that. I mean, then they increase amount to 500 million. Begin to say, well, Nigerians should please wait for the dividend of democracy. If they make you 1 billion, you say things like, well, God is the one who appoints powers, and, and then God Almighty has appointed this president. Let's just honor him and respect God in his life. You understand? At the right price, as they say, even God and the devil can have negotiation price. So we have a value system breakdown that's very frustrating at the cultural level. That makes these arguments very daunting to start social change. If you're not careful, you find yourself alone. Even your wife is going to come and tell you, bros, take that money. Your children can go to Harvard. Remember, this is your time and your future. So on that scale, when you have a social system that's at that scale, and the government that's supposed to be chief regulating officer is the one we want to regulate. So we have both the chicken and the egg very, 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 very attacked. Where do we start from? So, but if we want to do something, let's start this online platform. Let's do GoFundMe. Let's do social listenership across different platforms around brand Nigeria. Once we see a negative one, let's flag it or complain also that YouTube or Facebook or whoever brings it down. But remember, you're not going to make money from it too. The problem is one of us will become a friend of a politician now. They will give me money now. I'll just begin to tell any another story. Say, any.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad, baby. It's not that bad.
Social reform takes time. Any. We need to tone down. We need to collaborate with the government.
It will take time. Yeah. No. Let's start in 2050. I hear you, Coach David. Let me welcome Isaac. Isaac, welcome to your YouTube friends. Of course, Emmanuel, I see you as well. DCP T, I don't know what your name is, but thank you for joining us. Look, if you're on our YouTube channels, my friends, please like today's video. Just like the video. Just click on the like now and comment. Say something. I don't care what you say. Just tell us what you think. And of course, if you're not subscribed to our channel already, please do subscribe. I see you also praise Coach David brings his YouTube friends in numbers. Well done, Coach David. Well done to you, my friend. Always grateful. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our videos and to our channel. If you haven't done so already, for sure. Look, thank you so much, Coach David. So over here, please carry on.
All right. So what I was saying is that what David is saying really makes a lot of sense. The only thing that I just wanted to point out there is that we might do this without the government. In that when we rely on the government, we need to know that this government is actually in charge of the confusion that we have today. What we can, if they want to, of course, they will be fine. But I think we need to look for, because among Nigeria, I want us to understand this. We are very passionate about who we are as a people. We love ourselves, really, honestly speaking. Because you never understand this until you see there is somebody else that is fighting, or that is where you understand that Nigeria are really united. But when we don't have that enemy, sometimes we spend all the energy destroying ourselves. So I think there are a lot of Nigeria out there who might are signing for this kind of initiative of policing our situation, of rebranding Nigeria, of uplifting our dignity. Because there is too many evil out there that is not making us to shine in this world. We are a significant country in this world. We are a significant force in this world. But somehow, some bad elements have rubbish out on the ground and turned us into chicken. We are not chicken. We are not chicken. But I think we need to look for the like-minded people, because it's not everybody that is going to that believe in rebranding Nigeria for good, because of course they benefit from all the little change that is coming from here and there. But I believe that there are some good Nigerians out there who will sign in for this, doing something for the name Nigeria, for the sake of us, because of us. Not because I'm a Yoruba, I'm Hausa and Igbo, because I'm a Nigerian.
Yeah.
People are there to raise that flag and make us proud. There are. And it's not because of money, but because we, deep in our DNA, we are very proud people. We have something to defend. Let's find those individuals. Let's continue to build. Let's not lose hope. Let's believe that it can be possible. Let's look for some people who believe in us.
It has to be possible. It has to be possible. It just has to be. Otherwise, we're doomed, right? So Zara, Mr. Karma, I haven't heard from you lately. Let me show you a video. When Dr. Lesa keeps talking about attitude, there's something in it, my friends. It does mean something. So let me show you what an attitude and why it's so important in my belief of where we're trying to get to. This is Latiga's video, and we need to learn from this subject,
and that is, why do some people do so well in life while so many more do not? And the first thing let's talk about is the magic word. The experts call it the most important word as far as the results we get from life are concerned in this or any other language. And that word is attitude. It is our attitude toward life which will determine life's attitude toward us. Let's face the fact honestly that we shape our own lives, and the shapes of them will be determined by our attitudes. A person with a poor attitude toward learning, for example, isn't going to learn much until he changes his attitude. If we take the attitude that we cannot do something, we generally will not do it. An attitude of failure, and we're whipped before we start. So we know then that what we receive from life, what we accomplish or fail to accomplish, is due in large measure to our overall attitude. William James of Harvard University put it this way: "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." And isn't it wonderful that we have this measure of control? Before we start talking about our attitude toward the world, let's talk about our attitude toward ourselves, since it is the attitude we take toward ourselves which determines our attitude toward the world. Now, right here we come to a rather strange fact. We're so familiar with ourselves, we tend to take ourselves for granted. We tend to minimize the things we can accomplish, the goals we can reach, and for some equally strange reason, believe others can accomplish things in our field which we cannot. There are literally millions of human beings living narrow, darkened, frustrated lives, living defensively, simply because they take a defensive, doubtful attitude toward themselves, and as a result, toward life in general. Many people are suspicious of and oppose change. Yet change is the one thing in life on which we can absolutely count. People who stay young all the years of their lives not only welcome change, but see it for what it really is: new opportunity, new chances for further fulfillment. Attitude is a reflection, a result of a person's will. It is incalculably powerful. It can bring about marvelous results for us, but we need to train it patiently, day by day. Now let's talk about the attitudes of people who are successful. The top 5% of the people who go sailing through life from one success to another, and who, even when they fail at something, shrug it off and head right out again. No matter who the person is or what he does, men and women in sales, business executives, people in all the professions, wives and mothers, students, top people in the armed forces, public servants, men and women in the service of religion, working men and women in all fields of endeavor, wherever you find a person doing an outstanding job and getting outstanding results, you will find a person with the right kind of attitude. These people take the attitude toward themselves that they can accomplish what they set out to accomplish, that there's no good reason on earth why they can't be competent, successful. They have a healthy attitude toward themselves and, as a result, toward life and the things they want to accomplish. And because of this, they achieve some remarkable things, and they come to be called successful, outstanding, brilliant, lucky, and a lot of other things. They're quite frequently no more brilliant or outstanding than the majority of the people by whom they're surrounded. But they did develop the right attitude, and they found their accomplishments not too difficult, and many times surprisingly easy, simply because it seems that so few are really trying, really believe in themselves. Successful people come in all shapes and sizes and in widely varying degrees of intelligence, background, and so on. But they all have one thing in common. They expect more good out of life than bad. They expect to succeed more than they fail. If you want something worthwhile, take the attitude that there are a lot more reasons why you can have it than there are that you cannot, and set out to earn it. Go after it, work at it, ask for it, and 9 times out of 10, you'll get it.
Yeah, I loved it.
I could have carried on. So there was a time I used
Yeah,
to watch that video every day, literally every day, and it made me essentially the
yeah,
way I think now, because I truly believe our attitude is everything. And my thing today is Coach David. In case you missed part of the conversation earlier, you see, we have everything, Coach David. We have everything: the ability, the creativity, the ideas, the solutions, energy, and divine inspiration, Coach David. We have the divine power with us, because now Africa is full of believers, right? So that's why I'm asking the question, Coach David. When we have all these things, what's missing? This is why I go to the point that our attitude is part of our problem. Our lack of love, our lack of care for each other, our lack of, I hear what I heard what Coach David said. I heard what he
yeah.
said. Now we have to do things. Of course, Dr. Lester, I'll come to you next. How are you doing, Margaret? Long time, Superwoman. Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So great to have you here. Great to see you. And I say it's been a minute, as I say, Margaret, right? It's been a minute. I said DCPT. I see what you're saying. Our attitude towards life will cause a change to the world. That's the point, right? What is our attitude? What is, as Africans, what is our attitude? And I think we don't realize that love in our hearts is that's what will change everything, my friends. When we can find that love, elevating others, supporting each other, creating solutions for that's going to help the world. I'm not into doing it free of charge, because I think when you do something truly remarkable, the world will pay you anyway, right? So, Dr. Roxana, please feel free.
Yes, attitude has summarized everything we've been talking about. But let's call their names, though. We need to call them out. So we don't have the infrastructure development. We don't have them. We don't have that. Reliable transportation, we don't have them. Electricity, sometimes we don't. The internet connectivity, sometimes we don't. So because if we call it attitude, that becomes that psychological name.
Yes.
Maybe some people will understand it, people will not understand. Our poor infrastructure will not do the job. It hinders the growth and accessibility to our youths. Okay, and access to financing. Who brings the money? We do have money. Nigeria is a rich country. Well, Africans are a rich country, but where do we siphon the money? So it's not, it is attitude, but we can just call them names. Somebody siphons the money, it doesn't get to where it's supposed to be. Many businesses struggle because they are not given what there are no that's no support for those who have small businesses like they are supported here in America. You will see someone given some loans or maybe some loans to small businesses. I don't know if they do give that to Africa. Then we have the education and the skill development. You don't see a lot of people giving it free. I saw someone giving it free. But when I showed up here some decades ago, nobody was giving it free. So, but now somebody, even in America, I see someone giving it, and I keep clapping for this lady, Dr. McHonestly, because when I showed up here with 5 children, nobody was given, giving people how to succeed, how to get into your PhD or graduate degrees and so on. So that's a whole lot that I'm missing. Government support. We don't have the government support that we're supposed to have. When you're doing well in this country, people, you are supported, right? But when you're doing well in Nigeria, who supports you? Yes, go ahead.
It's easy to say what we don't have. I think the problem that I have is that we're not saying what we do have, and what we do have is what we talked about already, right? Which is this is what we talk about mindset all the time, the psychology, Dr. Roxanne, as you call it, right? We have the power of dreams, the power of creation. Do we have the vision to really create something big? Or are we just doing what we've always done, which is just trying to survive? If we just try and survive, we're done.
I want you to look at this question. That's a question.
I see. I'll get to it.
Said, can I ask a question? Is it possible for someone with a good attitude to grow in a corrupt country?
Everyone's going to need that question in a minute.
We have. This is a good question, Isaac.
The question is, the thing is this: if we talk about good attitude, now she mentioned so many things, infrastructure and all that. Now this is it. In Anambra State recently, Governor Soludo did so many things, reconstructing the roads and all that. Somebody is going out there to go and remove the tunnels. And it's a common Nigerian. It's a common Nigerian. It's not from the government. In Abuja, the same thing. The same thing in Abuja. After constructing the road, they go over there to remove the tunnels. They take it to the market to sell. Someone is going to tell me it's poverty. No, it's not poverty. It's not poverty. If you listen to what El Nightingale talked about. In America, we celebrate America today. Why are we celebrating America? America was not developed by the government. It was developed by the Rockefeller. We have the Rockefeller. We have the Iron Man. What do we call it? The Iron Man. Rockefeller is the oil man. The Iron Man, I've forgotten his name now. These are people that contributed to the government. They contributed their own and money to the government. Now, when Annie is talking about the attitude has to start from you.
Yes.
Either you're a businessman, you're a creator, you're a professor.
I'm sorry, what kind of attitude is that president given? These senators. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, okay, man. The kind of attitude they're giving. I mean, now, for example, I'm not encouraging what they are doing, but the fact is that if you ask me a question, does that mean that what they are doing is wrong? I should also follow their footpath? No.
I should.
Okay. Now, if you look at it now, for the past 12 years, I've been building businesses around Africa. I don't need anybody. Nobody gives me money to do that. I have to put the little I have to impact into community. That is my dream. That is my purpose. That is what I want to achieve. Now, if I can do that, and for example, Annie can do what he's doing, and Professor Rosanna can do what she's doing, and someone else can do, Coach David can do what they are doing, you will see everybody will be able to align. There will be alignment. Now, when there's alignment, there's tendency there will be purpose. There will be sense of purpose. Now,
Yeah.
yeah, Coach David talked about something. He talked about social responsibility. It is not enough for us to talk about titles. It is not enough for us to talk about purpose, but it's enough to talk about attitude, because attitude is everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think now,
yeah.
I like, for example, what Professor Rosanna is talking about here. Yes, in Nigeria, so many things are going too bad, but I must tell you, I did when a short story. When I got to Rwanda, when I got to the first time I entered Rwanda, a lot of people said Nigeria is too smart. Nigerians are too smart. Nigerians are too smart. Now they are coming here. They want to take over this. No, 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 no. I have to educate them. Now I'm not coming here to take from you. I'm coming to develop. Now, in creating impact, there's tendency I'm going to earn. I'm going to earn for what I do. And there's one thing I know about what I'm doing. I don't believe in someone to come to tell me the shortcut on how to achieve something. I love what I do. I really want to invest my time in what I do and also help to change people's life. Do you know, ma? Do you know, ma? Professor Rosanna, do you know in House of Senate today, House of Assembly, we have some of them that goes back to their community, and people in their community praise them for what they do in their community. They
Yeah.
push the same funds they invested, the same fund they got from the government. They take it back to the community. They sponsor people on scholarship. I know a man is a senator. He has over 300 persons from the East. He's from the East. He's a friend of mine. He has over 300 persons he has been paying their scholarship for the past 8 years. Though the money is coming from the government, but what we are saying here, the man is channeling this money to somewhere that will bring development, transformation, and innovation in that community. How about people in a community you have in the East, in the West, and also in the South, where you have most of them in Chicago, you have them in Texas, you have them in Mexico and some other parts in UK and all that. And if you go to see some of them there, they are responsible professionals that the government and or some other persons right in Nigeria who are senators, House of Assembly, has helped to sponsor some of them to do their first degree. After their first degree, they did their master's and PhD right in United States, in UK and other parts. But do you know what? These same persons are not coming back to Nigeria, coming back to Africa to contribute their quota. But somebody did it for them. So when we start talking about that, we should also look at the individuals, the corporate, the government, and whoever. So if you give me something, for example, you support me with something, I should be able to return that to the community or to impacting people, not just me becoming successful alone and not thinking about how to contribute to the society. So if I cannot contribute to the society, don't expect me someday if I become the president, I should do something good.
Yeah.
Talking about
So it starts from we. It starts from we, the individuals. That is from we, the individuals.
that is really
we-
good. That's really good. But let me tell you.
Dr. Leslie,
Yeah.
give me a second. I want to mention Festus's amazing comment. He says the philosophy of Ubuntu is long lost in the chase for money. We don't appreciate knowledge in general and the knowledge base. I guess with the skill. It was that skill element. That's what Rosanna was saying, right? We don't appreciate just learning and being better, being masters of our craft. We want the money. We don't want to do the work it takes, right? And say the culture of nothing for something is extremely high in Africa. I totally agree with you, my friend. Thank you so much. That is so important. I think Isaac painted the picture of our reality. See, those who talk about Africa they miss this reality. This is why I'm talking about this today, right? Isaac, I'm so sorry to hear this terrible news. The terrible news, if you call it that, right? So it takes grace of God for one to maintain his good character in this country, and that good character is what we must maintain. We want to talk about values. That's what we're talking about, right? He said, I remember in 2015 when Nigeria happened to me, I lost my mom in my hand because the doctor was asleep.
That is so sad.
Attend to us. That is, this happens all the time. I'm saying this is not a new thing. This doesn't happen in the West. There will be an investigation, Dr. Rosanna.
That is accountability. Nobody is accountable. Nobody's held accountable for anything.
No one cares enough. This is my problem. No one can. And our
so
success
sorry
depends
to hear this, Isaac.
Isaac, no, that is terrible. Look,
That's so
we feel
sad.
your pain. But this can't carry on. This is what I'm saying. Us who are here today, we have the chance, the opportunity to create genius, genuinely create the life we want. If only we would learn what we need to learn. And like I say, it's the little things. Coach David. I'm going to go to Calm. I'm going to come to you, Coach David. Here's your question. If we have this divine inspiration, divine gifts, what are we doing with it? Where is it? That alone should, that's your divine gifts basically means you're destined to do what you're destined, what God's created you to do, right? Because Leslie talked about purpose a minute ago. I'm saying your divine gift is almost guaranteeing that your purpose will be lived if you put your attention and effort towards it. Why are we going wrong? Let's talk to Michael, and I'll come to you, Coach David. Mr. Calm, talk to us. You've listened for a good while. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Are you there?
What say you, my friend? What are you thinking now?
Well,
we're going to the end.
I'm thinking that what you said was, with respect to attitude, was particularly important. And that human beings can alter our attitude, and that is very true. I've actually done that myself. I've been through that process. And as a result, our attitude in life, and therefore our platitude, changes. It changes either positively or it changes negatively, depending on what you're looking for, or depending on how you manipulate it. The other thing is that our attitude is full of, as Africans, our attitude is full of inferiority complex. Inferiority complex. In other words, the attitude we claim to have is self-defeating, and therefore we continue chasing poverty. That is what I'm seeing, is that we have attitude, but that attitude is full of inferiority complex, and it is therefore self-defeating.
I agree with you, my friend. And I agree with you. I think that it also goes with what Festus is saying, where our love for money, our love for chasing money. It was said earlier, and maybe some missed it, but to sell many people will sell anything for money. They will give your family, of course. Everything that you can think about. Literally. When we
That goes
can't be
back.
the people. That can't be our attitude. That can't be our way of life. That can't be our way of being.
That
We
goes back
must.
to our value system.
Yes.
What we have to reconfigure ourselves to stay away from money and value, and change our value system away
Don't
from money. It is
don't
not.
don't
It is not what we need.
don't stay away from money. Me and you and I always have this conversation, Michael. Don't stay away from money. Money is not the problem. It's
The
our
thing is,
love for
It's
money.
our attitude,
Our
it's our
love,
love for money. It's
attitude
smell
towards
for
money.
money.
Money is not the problem.
We cannot do without money.
We can help more people. We can help ourselves. We can help more people. But if we're willing to sell our granny for $1 or $2 or $10, whatever much you want to put it on, I'm saying that's crazy, right? That's just crazy. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but what I'm suggesting is that where our value system is more geared towards chasing money, and
it's a choice we
that
make.
is not what we should be chasing.
It's a choice we
should
make,
be-
surely.
Yes, it is a choice that we make,
Mm.
and it is wrong.
Mm.
That's
Look,
what
I'm
I'm
with
saying.
you. I'm with you. Look, I think in the way I agree with you entirely. We can't be chasing money. That's not the making our society a better place. Making our communities better, happier, more prosperous. We rise together, not I rise and everyone else is a competition. They're not. They're not.
Absolutely right.
Safi
We go
said,
far together.
I don't know about that. No offense. I've come of some prideful Africans. prideful, yes, of course, Safi. Whether they have the heart to help everyone rather than help themselves, or their handful of of whether in that question we mentioned, whether they help the community, whether they help the friends, as Dr. Leslie mentioned, we need to have more care towards each other. That's my personal take. I see you, Fumi. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. You said absolutely correct. Thank you so much. So, Coach David, please now share with us. And I said, now this your divine inspiration, because you write books about this, right?
Yes, yes. Yes, Africa has everything:
Mm,
talent, natural resources, everything, like you said.
mm,
I think anybody that wants to be a successful entrepreneur in Africa must add environment, meaning that you must be aware that these resistances exist. There's no government regulation that supports you in quotes. There is no loans anywhere. Nobody's coming to save you. Just have to be the bulwark that does everything end to end. That's the only mentality, because water will always find its level around rocks, and the air does not complain of the rocks and then refuses to flow. With what we have in Africa, if you must succeed, and those who have succeeded before must have some internal resilient attitude that will swallow the attitude. It's like attitude for attitude. You must have a higher resilience than all the frustrations you're going to meet on the way. You must develop a system, for example, where your staff will not dupe you. You must have a security system where yourself will not disappear. The moment you succeed, you can disappear with the money. They can kidnap you. I mean, anything can happen to you in some places, not all places. If you're going to be a farmer, for example, and there are bandits around, you're probably going to invest in some heavy military machinery. I'm not excusing government and the artifacts of the law from doing their job. I'm saying that once you're going to do business sustainably in Africa, you have to develop relationships and capacity, because those attitudes is not news. They will happen. Nigeria will happen to you, Zimbabwe will happen to you, Botswana will happen to you, Rwanda will happen to you. There's no place you do business in Africa. By the way, a fraud and all the things with attitude is an English word. So there's bad attitude too in developed economies of the world. But they have a system that at least rewards positive attitudes more. And if you were caught stealing or something, there's a public retribution reward system that ensures that you don't do that thing again, or you go away for a long time. Bottom line, if you're in Africa, it doesn't work that way. You need to develop a lot of resilience. And in the process of developing that resilience, where you're focused on your goal, you may become too used to a certain level of success that you don't want to outsource your success. So you may want to blend. The temptation to blend will come at some point. Look, I have a business to run, profitability first. That attitude will make your journey easier in the short term. In the mid to long term, you're shooting yourself in the foot,
yeah.
because that thing is come back to bite you. So the first thing that you must grow resilience, you must plan part of your business plan, both psycho business plan, psycho emotional business plan, and the P&L money driven financial business plan must contain human nuances and all the scenarios of things that people may throw at you and your business. That's the first thing you need to do, in my opinion. The other thing is that you must think about creating an environment. As an entrepreneur, you have to go beyond just creating your products. You must create the environment. I mean, a friend of mine wanted to start a business, and the lawyer took some money from him. And the lawyer did not do anything. The lawyer brought him fake documents. And so by the time he went to file for tax, I think he went to do his tax. That's how they said the company doesn't exist, the document doesn't exist. The lawyer simply printed out something. This is a lawyer. A lawyer did this to him. He was so distraught and so angry, and he was crying and hooting. Then his older sister said, "Oh, you just starting. Have you seen why you won a bid and then they removed your name and put another name? Love discouragement is part of the game. You're gonna have a lot of discouragement. You will have to grow tougher than them." And that made him stronger. So what's our bigger point? we have to grow tougher as entrepreneurs, as leaders. Our attitude must be bigger than disappointment. The size of your positivity must be ready to swallow up the negativity.
Yeah.
That is the only way. We must raise the altitude of our inner person, the inner person. You must
Yeah.
raise the strength of your attitude. Not only must you have attitude, you must now cultivate and you must become a colony of that attitude so that you can be useful in the current phase.
I couldn't agree more. That's truly that's Coach David. I think I say it much more starkly. Like I think, but you must find love in your heart.
Yeah, same thing.
Truly, like you must
Love,
find.
love that is bigger. Love that is bigger than the volume of hate in the environment.
Yes, for sure, for
Love
sure.
that is bigger than the volume of hate. I mean, the government can come and shut down your business. Look, just for succeeding, they'll just start a rule against you alone because the girlfriend or the brother or sister or the cousin of a governor, for example, is interested in that business line, and for no just reason, the guy will just shut down and just start a new rule to ostracize you. So you must be tougher internally. Tougher
Yeah.
internally. And I see
Look,
my sister Fumi Afolai right there. Yeah, government is a major factor in sustainability in any business in African countries. Yes, but despite that, we cannot continue to because the government has a lot of the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, there are government faculties that ensure that your business dies off, and they're the ones that support you to succeed. But there's no excuse. My point is, you must have bigger resilience, bigger love, bigger attitude. I mean, I know a guy wanted to start a business who failed 17 times. Today, he's doing remarkably well. But if he tells you the story of each of those 17 times, he wanted to throw in the towel. Because think about it, why should you have that level of resilience or that level of internal attitude that's larger? You must calibrate your internal attitude larger. Why should we have that? We have no other place to call home.
Yeah.
And development of Africa will be by Africans. It is the best of Africans that will develop Africans for Africans. That's number 2. Number 3 is that eventually, in my own opinion, Africa is the only place you can do business and start on Monday as a very small player, and on Friday you become the dominant player. That's because you have a certain regulatory behavior or framework as of today that at least helps us to scale fast and quick. But the energy it takes for you to be a businessman or to be a leader in Africa, you have to factor it and make sure you look for that energy because your attitude will have to swallow up all the resistances on the ground.
Yeah.
And the book stops at my concluding thoughts. Every empire rises or falls according or in direct proportionality to the strength of the emperor. If the soul of the emperor is large, if the soul of the emperor is large enough, the enterprise will begin to increase at the fringe or the edges. If the soul of the emperor is low or small, meaning is unforgiving, is bitter, is angry, the empire begins to wane around the edges gradually and reduce and shrink to the size of the belief in the soul of the emperor. So we need not only do we need attitude that is big enough to swallow up other wheels of attitudes that you need to is my opinion.
I hear you. Look, I mean, let's end with Isaac's question, amazing question, a truly fantastic question. He says, is it possible for one with a good attitude to grow in a corrupt country or one with a bad leader?
Yes, it is. And I can give you case studies.
Look, go for it, Dr. Rosanna.
We were this corrupt, in quotes, when MTN came to town. I was opportune to see the first call on the MTN network. I was opportune again to see the first call on Glow. Look, as whatever adjectives you want to label the economy, Chief Mike Adenuga is doing well today. When the going gets tough, is stuff that gets going. We can cry and hoot all we like and shout all we like, but there are also the success stories. And I can give you industry by industry. at the end of the day, are we going to say because it's a hard terrain, we're going to throw in the towel? No. It doesn't matter who the leader is. Yeah, I know all the things you like to say. Oh, they're not in every environment. Oh, they can shut down your business. Oh, they're not like. No, excuse me, that's all we have now in front of us. That's our project. And let me just throw this last thought. The current president does not have more than 25 years. I mean, God Almighty, make him live as long as he wants. Nobody has a register of people's exit date of the planet. But Annie, you probably most likely, although I know you are also close to our ancestors, but seriously, you're close to our ancestors between Kam and I know we will still, but on a more serious note, you have longer to live than the president. You have a higher stake. Kam and I also have longer to live. Professor Roxana has longer to live than the president.
Yeah.
What's my point? We can't allow these old men to keep narrating our stories.
I agree.
We can't allow them to keep shaping our future and then we just throw in the towel. We must have a large heart and we must fight on the ground. There are still people who you can work with. There are still Africans who want to cause a change. That's my last thought. Thank you.
No, thank you so much,
Yeah.
my friend.
Can I
Dr.
chip in?
Roxana, feel free. Yeah, of course. They said take your time, answer the question as best you can. I'll share it again.
I agree with you, David. Coach David, I just agree with you, but let me tell you this. In any industry you are, or in any company you are, if you have to be promoted, if you have to go further, there must be somebody behind you pushing you. You must have someone that can speak for you in a room where you can't come in. That is so true. So if some people are progressing in Africa, the people who are doing very well, then they have the wherewithal to progress. You cannot just do it empty-handed. So what I'm trying to say is that some Africans don't have it, and they don't have anybody to help them. But trust me, these people who are being brain drained to London, to US, they had people who are pushing them. They have people who can sacrifice for them. So everybody in Africa, they don't have people who are there to help them. I remember when I came here, I know that I came from a polygamous family and my family were together. They were ready to help. I brought in a family of 5 with my husband, so we're 7. And it's not that we had the money, but I had a family that were ready to help. So what I'm trying to say is that people who are progressing, those who are migrating, those who are doing well, even though they're in Nigeria, they have people who are helping them, who can just stay in a room where they are not, and speak for them, beat on the table, and vouch for them. But what about those who don't have help? What are they doing? What are they doing? Those who cannot get help. So people are progressing. The Africans are doing well. If you just have someone who can give you a little push at the back, that's what many Africans need. If the government cannot do that, do they have individuals in the family or somebody who is not even, because family must not be blood. Family must not be blood. Is there anybody who can help? So that's what I'm trying to say. And thank you so much, Annie, for letting me speak.
I was going to go to Mr. Khan, but it seems to
so
follow.
just a minute, Annie, I just wanted to tell Prof that Prof, you're just such a genius. Thank you for that point. I totally agree with you. And we need to have a system or a network. You know, Annie, I always talk about collaborative intelligence.
Yeah.
If you see how Indians, Pakistanis are using the model that Prof is talking about to break even in the West, it will shock you. They don't go through the mortgage problems we go through. Jews don't go through mortgage problems. They contribute money. Let's say your down money is $100,000 pounds or dollars. About 20 Jews will come together and contribute month upon month. You buy. When you buy, The next person goes, and like that, as a chain, they don't go to any bank. And in addition to recommendations, we need to have a system, informal system. I just wanted to add action point to what Prof said. Let's action and have systems and networks of Africans
Yeah.
that open doors for others, because then we can actually quickly break the number of persons that are below the poverty line into above the poverty line. We need
Yeah.
to do that very quickly. And one way to scale it is the model Prof mentioned. I just scale it into, for example, lifestyle. Beyond just opening doors and the business connections and words, there's also how it becomes lifestyle. Recommendation for schooling, you want to get property in the West, you want to access some business networks. There's somebody in my network that Calm needs. There's somebody in Ennis network that Calm needs. There's somebody in Provostana's network that Calm needs. If we work together with Calm, in 10 years, we're breaking him out of poverty line, and he's a serious-minded person. And like that, we go around and create a new economy for ourselves, because we are all we have for ourselves. So thanks for that, Prof. I just want to highlight that.
I
And
agree.
then look at the question. See, Isaac again has a question that needs to be addressed.
Okay, I'll get to it as quick as I can. As I'll mention Praise Revival International Ministries comment. A good attitude fosters unity, innovation, and resilience, empowering individuals and communities to drive sustainable growth and positive change across Africa. I agree with you totally, my friend. And I say that I'll probably end on a comment, for Isaac. So Isaac says, "I wish we can work on our good name. If the leader can help, we get to work from outside Nigeria as a freelance, but at the moment, they hear you in Nigeria or from Nigeria, they have a different thought, different attitude towards Nigerians." It's a challenge, right? It's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a genuine challenge.
It's
But
a bad
I
name we
think,
give to ourselves, unfortunately.
yeah. I was telling my son the other day, he's 16. I'm like, look, my son, you have your family name and you only have one, right? And make sure you look after it. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, protect it, because you're going to go with you for the rest of your life and beyond. You look after it. In other words, think what you do the right things. We talked a lot about our values. I'm saying, think about what you're doing every time. Don't go and kill our name by doing terrible things. Don't go and rubbish our name by chasing the wrong things. I'm saying, whether chasing women or to chasing money. I'm saying that's not it, right? Do what's going to make our family proud. That's what your name is. So I see what you're referring to there, Isaac, for sure.
And that's a very and that's a very strong one. Sorry, I'm cutting to you again. That's a very strong one. One of the sad things about Africans, again, that I'm not happy about, is that our value systems have not survived our migrations, both at home and abroad. This statement you just said now was a standard operating procedure statement of my dad and mom anytime I came back home. Once I turned 16 and I was going to a place where they will not be with me, university, campus, everything, they will always call me. Say, I kept a good name for you. I've never been before a judge, never been to court for anything evil. To witness in a case, yes, but not because I stole something or I did something. I didn't do anything. Your grandfather, you can see him. You see how society greets him. You see how everybody loves him. Your great-grandfather was like that. You are next in line. That name is a lot of title. You will not do anything to frustrate that name. If they say there was riot somewhere, my son or daughter will not be in the room. In fact, you are so far away from the place, and there was no negotiation. Now, you see people on social media today say things, and you're wondering, and it's their full name, their first name, middle name, and surname. You can even see brother listed on the person's profile, or sisters listed on the young man or woman's profile. You're wondering, is there no relative of this person on social media? You cannot be like this. Now, I don't know, we westernized in Africa. We started, we stopped being communal. I mean, when I was younger, if you did something in school, the news got home before you, and your parents, the society was looking at you, but somewhere along the line, it's gotten fragmented. The Indians still have it. The Pakistanis and Lebanese still have it. They have systems where they meet every Friday, area by area. In the whole of Essex, there's a place they meet. You have them all over Manchester. They have communities and clusters where they meet. They know who you are. Once you are Pranita or Pranjiv or Sanjeev, it's a system that brought you into the country. There's a system to help you stabilize. In fact, who you will marry probably has been predetermined. That's an excess of it, in my opinion, but at least it works for them. And your job and everything you're going to do. So what you just mentioned now, that small thing you said, that training is part of the Ubuntu system. We gave you a name. You will not do anything to fragment or reduce the value, the capital of that name. That is an example of a fabric and a story that we need to pass down as Africans as part of our cultural identity, because it exists in Igbo land. I mean, the first thing they say when I was growing up was, who is your dad? Who is your mom? Gradually, we moved into what can you do? But at the end of the day, we are finding that values are being eroded. People are doing things on social media. They're wondering, are you sure this? And that fits the white man's narration. When something evil happens, he's a black angry man. If he does something good, he's a Briton. but if he does something very negative, he's a black African who is disturbed or distressed. Anyway, thanks for that. It just reminds me of that
Right.
value system.
If it's a fraudster, it's Nigerian, clearly. That's just how it goes around here. No, but look, I think we're saying the same things, my friend. It comes down to, what Coach David just said. It's about love for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. For me, I see what you say. Indians have a strong support system in place, highly commendable. We can have a strong support system, but we must be better people, better attitude, more caring, more keen to use that divine powers that we have. You can't miss the divine powers. Coach David writes big books about your divine gifts. But part of your divine gifts is simply to make the world a better place. That's what God is. That's what God tells you. That's what God wants you to do. Because we're here in his image, don't forget, right? I'm not religious at all. I'm just saying to you my understanding from reading Coach David's book. We're here to make the world a better place. Let's do what it takes. Let's do what it takes. And I say, Isaac, I say, of course, Praise Revival International Ministry, thank you for your amazing comments. You're a strong man, Isaac. I read about your story in blogs, and I experienced your greatness in Port Harcourt, watching you on TV. Stay strong to your good character, my friend. Again, character. If you're in business, my friends, even if you work for someone, your character is everything.
Yeah.
Your mindset, your attitude. Love what you're doing and aim to do it so well. Aim to be a master of your craft. That's love, true love for yourself, for those you serve. The money will come. The money is not our problem. The problem is that we don't have in our hearts enough to truly move mountains. Those who do move mountains. And it is funny how in the diaspora we suddenly develop a heart. This is our conundrum, my friends. Look, and I'll come back in a couple of weeks' time, and I do want to start talking about this thing. What is the African way? Is there one? Ubuntu is long. I think that I agree with you, Isaac. That's long gone. That's forgotten, right? But I'm sure, as Coach David was saying, there's elements from it that we can still make our own, make our way, our future, right? We have to, otherwise, no matter how much we learn, no matter how good we are, if we have no values, if we have no principles, the world just going to ignore us because there's nothing different about us. It's those principles that make us truly different. I challenge all of you here today. Go and define what your way is. And then and come and share it with us. Let's start that movement Coach David talked about. Let's start the movement of us rewriting our narrative, taking on the institutions and creating the systems that we need. I thank you all who spent your time with us. I thank you all who've given us your time. Those who come on stage, I love you more than anything else. I really do. Yeah, I do, right? Festus, of course, thank you so much. And everyone else who's given us, Superwoman Margaret, I truly appreciate you spending your time with us as well. Look, maybe more importantly, please go to the comments section and connect with each other. Connect with us. Let's meet. Let's see what we can. Let's see what you do. Let's see what we do, and let's see how we can work together. All the things we talked about only work when we actually do talk, right? Now let's talk. Yeah. So thank you so much, Prof. You're a star. Coach David, you're a star. Of course you are. And Michael.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you all, everyone. Look, enjoy your evening. I've got a couple of shows tomorrow, but I'm sure I'll invite you, my friends. You take care. Take care. Bye,
okay,
everyone.
thank you. Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's successful, and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's successful,